With all of you, Corbett Drummey.
Hello, everyone. My name is Corbett Drummey. I'm the VP of Brand Collaboration at Lightricks. First off, before I kick into my talk, I'll let the music play a little more. Before I kick into my talk, I wanted to say it has been an absolute pleasure to see everyone else's talks this morning. Claudio's immersive history of the landscape, Chad's really cool previews of the technology OpenAI has made and what's coming. It's been so cool to see. It's funny because a lot of us work in this field and we spend a lot of time building our own products or as creators building our own assets that we make. And even though we're immersed in the field, it still takes conferences like this for us to really get up to date with the latest and get immersed in the latest technology. So thank you to Upscale, the Upscale team, Free-Pick team for hosting this and for pulling it off so well. It's been really amazing. So shout out to everyone there. And then finally, round of applause for them. Thank you. So at the end of my presentation, I'll have some time for Q&A, and you can use this code to submit a question anonymously. From the presentations this morning, it seemed like it also works for people just to shout out stuff as well. That actually worked pretty well. But with this, it's anonymous, so you can go crazy and ask me something very controversial, and I'll consider answering it. Or just shout something at the end, and I'll call on you. As mentioned, please scan this if you take a second and scan this, and then I'll flip over. So I am the VP of Brand Collaborations at Lightricks. Lightricks they're the makers of LTX Studio, the AI video platform that I am presenting to you today. Our mission is to bridge the gap between imagination and creation. The funny thing about these vision statements and mission statements is that they often seem like these things are very far in the future, that they will never be fully realized. But I think from what we've seen today, and what I'll hopefully show you today, is that this is as close as ever to happening. This is something we feel like we are realizing, which is really unique. It's almost like the dog catching the car. But I'm hoping to show and inspire people, and inspire them to show them that you can really get what's up here out there. R&D is in our DNA at Lightricks. So most people know of us through Facetune, the very popular selfie editing app that is transformed into an app for self-expression. We also have Video Leap and Photo Leap, the beloved photo and video editing apps. And I myself am the co-founder of Popular Pays, a platform that connects brands and content creators for things like branded content and influencer marketing. Throughout our startup's life, we've paid tens of millions to creators out there. And I was the CEO of Popular Pays until I got the best demotion of all time 3 years ago when Lightricks acquired the business. And in the last year and a half, I've been working mostly on the newest products you can see here at the bottom, LTX Studio, our AI video platform, and LTXV, the video model that powers the motion in the videos that you see in our video platform. A bit of news about LTXV as well. So we released the first version of LTXV in February, which seems like ages ago in this crazy timeline that we live in with AI products. But that was like a 2 billion parameter model. And then last week, we released a 13 billion parameter model. So a huge increase in quality. But that wasn't enough for us. We then released last week as well a distilled model. It's like a turbo version that's blazingly fast. But the reason we're creating this is we wanted to release an open source model there. I mean, someone has to. But we wanted to release something where the research community, developers, they can all contribute to this. And it's a good balance to the amazing but closed models out there. So we've often found that when we work with the community, we can get as much in terms of innovation as you can from the leaders in the field. So we thought that was a really nice way to balance things out. The way we position the model is it's incredibly fast, and it's really built for rapid prototyping and efficiency. So it's consistent, with the latest gen models, but it's lightning fast. So if you were to release a video, for example, from VO, you might wait 30 seconds for a video. You can get 4 from LTXV, and with our turbo version, you can get 4 in 10 seconds. It's really powerful in the sense of I think we spend a lot of our times as creators just waiting for things, and this lets you really get in the flow of creating. It lets you iterate really quickly, and it's very customizable. Since we have it, we can offer things that to our enterprise clients, stuff like that we just wouldn't be able to otherwise. But a picture is worth 1,000 words, and a video is probably worth 1 million or something. So I just want to show you what these models look like. So here we'll see a peek into the latest 13 billion parameter LTXV model, as well as the turbo. And you'll see Google VO, where we've also integrated Google's VO into our platform in the last month or two. So with LTX Studio, we have this application layer, this end-to-end video platform. With LTXV, our video model, we power all the motion you see there. But we've also wanted to just enable this agnostic suite where if there's a really good tool out there, we can pull it in. So it's like a foundation for your work as a creative and someone in this space. And speaking of VO, I saw that there's been some news today, so we'll have to be hard at work integrating the next version of VO, I guess, in the platform after today's announcement of VO4. Or VO3, sorry. Yeah. 3. It moves that fast. Breaking news, I'm announcing VO4. So this is why we're here today, though. It's funny, I had been referencing this tsunami of that's hitting our industry, and I heard it in I think the first 1 or 2 talks earlier today. This really is a tsunami, it's a wave hitting us, and as referenced earlier, it's something that we as folks in the industry, we want to surf this. We don't want it to crash into us. Experts like Gartner predict that in less than 2 years, really like a year and a half, almost a third of the content we see, the content that's being created, will be created by AI. It's kind of hard to wrap our heads around the sheer magnitude of it, considering how much content is being created. But it rings true, especially when you see the exponential progress from all the tech being presented today. And one thing I wanted to encourage today is getting used to using these workflows in different ways. Getting familiar with the fact that you might have tried something, but then if you tried a few months later, it finally might be good enough to achieve what you want, so you have to kind of keep exploring those areas. And so I'll try to highlight 6 areas where we've seen users get the most value out of these platforms and tools so that you can get used to them in your workflows now. The reason I would encourage that is that unlike any other product you might be familiar with in the tech world or anything else in the recent technology history, these products, when you use them, they almost get better underneath your feet. So as you're using them, when you just start adopting them, each month they get better and better. We're swapping out the underlying video models, more features and customizations are available. And so it's really imperative that you start adopting them in different ways than you're using them today. Or if you're not using them at all, try adopting them now. Because then you can kind of be surfing this trend, and you're going to be a part of this rising tide and be a part of that progress. So we're hoping to show 6 ways that this can be really helpful today, not just in the future, because people are probably tired of hearing about how much AI is going to change things, and we want to talk about how you can use it now for your job today. But it is a problem. There are a lot of problems in the space. It's inconsistent at best. It's kind of funny. It's like this savant where AI is amazing at some things and then just terrible at others, honestly. And so that inconsistency is really problematic with day-to-day workflows where we want to be really reliant on it. They're also complex tools. I think because they're experimental, a lot of the times the UX and UI interfaces are really clunky. And you have to hop between multiple platforms a lot. And it's just very slow. When I see some users I watch some users use these tools, and it's amazing how much time we spend just waiting. And we want to get you in that creative flow. But that is why we built LTX Studio. We have a decade of history building consumer apps and user interfaces. Someone has said AI is like this giant reactor of nuclear energy, and the piping just has to be built. And we want to be pushing forward the research on the foundational models, but building the right platform interface for providing that one-stop shop to get your job done. So we'll talk about these 6 use cases. The first, so creative exploration is really important. When you're approaching a project, you often are trying to define the art direction. It's a place where you're open to these happy accidents. You want this fast and loose and flexible workspace that's not rigid. And this is something we've doubled down on just in the last few months alone. We have an image workspace where it purposely gives you more variety at the start, but you can drill down and say, I want more like this. We're also making it easy for you to say like what you want to retain from that as you're cycling through the different options. And so one example, you can import a reference image, a single image, and transform your shot. But you can also, in our platform, be kind of dictating what you're importing, what you're keeping from that composition or reference image. And so that's a really powerful way. It's really intuitive for creatives because I think a lot of times creatives have something in their head or something, some reference shot online they have, and they can just pull that in here, transform the results, and get cooking really quickly. The next part, I would say, in the first killer use case people were using LTX Studio for is the storyboard part. So once you've kind of explored your creative direction and you know where you want to go, what the vibe is of the project you're working on, or what you're trying to communicate stylistically, you can bring this into a project and really quickly get the scaffolding for your project. So this could be an example of where, let's say you have a script, you can import the script and get a storyboard in 30 seconds, and then spend hours crafting each shot individually. Or you can just build this out frame by frame. I've seen a lot of creatives do that, and this is the way where you can start to wrap your head around like how, if you're in production, you can think about how am I actually going to go and shoot this. You can change things like camera angles, like the composition, like I mentioned. And when I say you can pull in a style reference and choose what to keep, we allow you to say like, oh, I want to just keep the pose of a person, or the lines in the image, or the depth of the shot. So you can get really precise, even though you can get that whole project preview really quickly. But in addition to just like the rapid, fast iteration in the beginning, and having a project, keeping things all in place, like this storyboard can act as your foundation, that consistency that I mentioned is consistently a problem in the space. So we've tried to address that with LoRa-trained models for things like characters. In a bit of news, we're also releasing it now for products. But focusing on characters for a second, there's a mix of, I think there's a mix in the room of how deep people are into this, but as a quick refresher, a LoRa trained model would be something like a very efficient fine-tuning of the foundational model. And so if you're tagging a character, this little piece of that takes over and drives the result. This allows for really consistent characters versus what you would get from a default model. And we have built like a library of actors that you can activate. But now with either just a prompt, just words, or uploading images, like a dozen images, you can create your new characters. There's this phenomenon that happens with AI creators. When you make them, they all look like vaguely attractive and average people, and it's hard to get them looking unique or human. And this way, you can use prompting. Maybe just ask ChatGPT, how do I get like more variety and spice into this character, or just pull in reference images to create a character. And like I said, we're rolling this out at first for people, and then now with products. So if you have to get a consistency around like a backpack or a coffee cup or something, you can tag the products in these shots as well. And so we're trying to roll that out, starting from characters, then products, and on from there to give you consistency when you're trying to bring your vision out into the real world. It's better to just visualize this. So here's a quick clip of what the character, the LoRa-trained characters look like in action. You can still change things like their the clothing, haircut, stuff like that, scene to scene. But one thing that's really fun is that these characters will persist across projects. And so you can easily spin up multiple projects and just kind of have this catalog of characters and then products. And so your work persists across these individual projects, which saves you a lot of time. Probably my favorite thing, though, recently, just about a month ago or a month and a half ago, we released editing and like timeline editing in the platform. I think this is the single biggest thing that helps projects get out in the real world and prevents them from just dying on the vine. Because I've seen so many people start things, and if you have to go from platform to platform, you never really finish them. And so with the timeline editing, you have this really smooth, intuitive editing where instead of every platform where you have to generate like a 3-second clip or a 5-second clip, 7 seconds, here you can get as specific as you want with the clips you're working with. You can line them up. You have multiple audio and video tracks, so you can layer on multiple things together. And you can pull in other stuff. Like there's some really amazing audio models out there. So whether you're pulling in something from like Suno, Udio, Eleven Labs, et cetera, you can pull in outside audio, line it up with your video, trim your video, et cetera. And you can imagine next up pulling in any asset from your library into here. It can make for a really powerful foundation as a creative when working with this. So that goes along the theme of the end-to-end platform we want to provide. Again, to illustrate this more visually, here's just a quick clip a teammate pulled together recently just to show these kind of fast cuts that's really hard to achieve unless you're just exporting the working files out of a platform, which is laborious, or you have to really work hard to line up those clips manually without something like this. So here's just a quick clip showing those like live cuts in a fast way. It's funny, normally there's narration, but I stripped it out of here. And even without it, I'd still watch that, whatever it is. And then finally, when we talk about how you use these to work, improve your work today, an important concept is just pitching work and getting it sold in. We all sell day to day, whether it's a agency pitching to a client, whether you're trying to convince something, communicate an idea to your boss. We're constantly pitching concepts, and so having this like really rapid, this platform for rapid prototyping is critical for getting work sold and getting things produced. So one of my favorite workflows is just taking a picture, using that composition tool, saying, oh, I want to keep this pose. You can rapidly storyboard something. And you can export this as a pitch deck, a final video, like a trailer, like I just showed you. You can collaborate with colleagues on there, and you can also export the working files if you want to keep working through this in another platform. The reference images really help with that rapid iteration. And you can keep upcycling it. So for example, you can go from that sketch and storyboard to an image. You can then use these video models for like really rapid motion design. And then you have these like higher weight models for complex action if you want to export something final. So it lets you like iteratively go over your project and get it out there and get it shipped and sold. And finally, I want to talk about this last part, which is the end-to-end production. There's still a lot more to be done here, but it's really powerful in the sense that it can serve as a home base where you can pull in everything from sound and audio, like I mentioned, and video, but even things like lip syncing with your characters, facial expressions. You can tie it up all together here, and then export it to get your work out the door. In terms of, we've talked about what's different in terms of like the fine-grained control, the speed, going from idea to final cut in a collaboration. But it's more useful to talk about some ways that it's being used. So I have two quick case studies to show. The first one is from eToro, the finance platform. So this has been used as final pixels even in broadcast TV as an example. So they used, eToro used LTX Studio to storyboard out a project, and then you work it into a final video that was then exported and aired during the Olympics. But you can imagine where, we wanted to show the highest use case, like broadcast TV, across many different markets. But where this could be really valuable and where you should start thinking about AI video for final pixels is in the speed of social. So as an example, when you think about what you've shared recently with your friends, maybe a reel or TikTok or something viral, you're usually sharing it because it's worth sharing and not because it's so perfectly produced. That's what you go to the movies for. Usually you're sharing it because it's just really timely, very funny, and this is a tool, this is an example of how you can use these tools for rapid action on social replies, for getting something out there quickly. And the funny thing is, the more you think about it, the more you realize that what makes content worth sharing is its timeliness and how much you can capitalize on the current moment and the zeitgeist of the times. And so I think that starting to think about these things as how can I use this for these channels such as social media, that's really important for people's workflows. But you could use it all the way up to broadcast TV. But where I think LTX Studio really shines personally is in the pitching of projects, the communicating of ideas. So we've had people use LTX Studio to sell in shows to Netflix. Unfortunately, I can't tell you what it is, but I hope you all watch it regardless. But it's looked exciting to me. And I think what's powerful here is that in the past, maybe you'd come, whether it's to an ad agency, to a client, you'd have a script, maybe a single reference image, maybe some stock footage. And if you're a creative trying to get a script greenlit, you might come with a script as well as, I don't know, yeah, like a few images to get the vibe. But the times demand more than that now. And so here, we have people going to Cannes who are showing trailers made via LTX Studio to more rapidly capture people's attention and communicate their idea. And so this tool really can help you ship work and get it sold in, no matter whether you're a creator, a director, an agency, et cetera. And so I can say with a straight face, I think it's the best prototyping tool in the world for that. We're used by over 1 million users. We have a really burgeoning B2C part, but there's also a B2B element. So we offer powerful enterprise tools such as legal indemnification for IP issues for our enterprise clients. It spans across entertainment studios and agencies, Fortune 500s. Not all of them we can list here, but I see them using it. And then the other part is, the important things enterprise customers need, like security certifications, et cetera. It's really a powerful collaboration hub for these businesses, but it's very thriving also on just the consumer side too. So what I can encourage you all to do is start using these tools to get work out there, get it produced. Try to move things forward, in your day-to-day work using these tools, because unlike anything else, they will continue to get better underneath your feet. So it's really about getting started. And although I don't think you can yet produce like Dune 3 with these tools, it's maybe in a few years, maybe never, but you can sell Dune 3. And so you could pitch it, you can get your work sold. And so here's another clip a teammate put together just pitching a show they had in mind, and it shows like what you can do in the narrative of getting your idea out there.
I've seen worlds crumble and stars fade into silence, but I'm still here.
Weapons on.
Not because I'm unbreakable,
Bow before the new order, or be erased through the old one.
but because I choose to stand,
You can't rewrite destiny.
even when everything else falls.
We're passing around a hat. Thank you, thank you. We'll pass around a hat, and if we get enough money collected, we'll go and fund it, and then you can all see it. Oh, it's so cool. So, all right, so moving on, I want to give you guys something for your attention here. So I have a quick little surprise here, and then we'll go into Q&A. But scan this. We want to give everyone just a month of unlimited access. Scan this and try it out. It's also a fun time for me to take a photo of you guys. So there you go. And while you scan that, I'm going to check to see if there's any questions that came in. And then if not, I'll ask the audience just to shout them out. Oh, well, I'll give you a card. You can, I have some cards I can give to you then. Just come find me after. Yeah. Okay, so we got a few questions, and I think we can answer most of them in the time left. So the first one, how to create AI loop videos that interact with the real world. It means it's repetitive but embedded in a certain dynamic with real world noise, touch, gestures. Is there anyone here? Wait, do you want to tell me more about that before so I can answer it correctly? Whoever asked that. Sorry to call you out. I said it was going to be anonymous. No? I'll come back to that then. Sorry. I just want to make sure that I'm answering correctly. One of them asked just how long will we wait for generating a video? So going back to the earlier slides, a personal frustration for me is some of these heavyweight models take a long time to generate. They're amazing, but you can wait 30 to 60 seconds. With LTXV, you can get 4 videos in 30 seconds, and with LTXV Turbo, you can get those 4 videos in 10 seconds. So it's really wild. And I think I mentioned this, but I might have mentioned this, but it's the only, I think the first faster than real-time model. And so in 4 seconds of generation time, you're getting 6 seconds of video. So and talk about infinite content, it opens up a lot of crazy possibilities, but it's like blazingly fast as a model. Let's see. Actually, there's a lot more questions than I thought. I'm not sure I will get to all these. How should I choose what model to use, the VO or LTXV model? I think VO is great. I really do. I use it all the time for complex motion. But what's cool is the platform works asynchronously. So to be honest, sometimes I just query up, I just click both models and let them load, and I'm getting like 7 or 8 results all loading really quickly. And so it's about just kind of working with your own workflow. You don't have to do these in a single fashion. You can load them at the same time synchronously. So that's been really fun. Let's see. Oh, what is the skeleton format of video in LTX? Did you guys make your own Markdown format or video formatting language? The code isn't working for 1 month for free. I will fix that. Come find me. Can an object be a character, and how can you control its physical behavior, having a coffee cup with a face? Yes. So one of the first things we were changing to the characters, Laura, is we're enabling non-human characters. So yes, people were hacking that by default, and it would fail sometimes in the generation. But we're allowing for non-human characters. So that is just a yes. Let's see. There's actually quite a few. Give me a second to read these. Can you talk about what you mean by open source? What is the training data used for this model? Is it safe and ethical? So open source meaning that we've posted the model on Hugging Face, GitHub, stuff like that. Researchers and developers can bring it onto their machine, use it. If you, I think, have under 10 million in annual revenue, we don't charge you for this. We are looking into things like API and licensing, but it is open sourced for researchers and developers to use and play around with and to make their own versions. In terms of the training data, we've tried really hard to make this as clean as possible, for example, using data that is either expired copyright or licensed. There's an article, if you look for Shutterstock LTX Studio, we partnered with people like Shutterstock to license data from them, and that's something we've continued to look at. But we stand by it so much that, like I said, we offer a legal indemnification. And so if you are using the model, as an enterprise user, if you're using the model, and someone comes after you saying, hey, I don't think you can use this based on the training data, we will defend you in court. So we will put our money where our mouth is. That said, from the very first talk, it's inputs in, inputs out. So if you put in something copyrighted in the input, like, I want to make a Barbie movie, and then you make a Barbie movie, and you get sued by Mattel, we can't help you with that. That's on you. And so it's the same thing. It's just copyright law. But we do stand by the training data in that sense. Let's see. I think I got like one or two more. Let's see. And if anyone wants to shout one, feel free to. Let's see. What factors do you consider when accessing and managing compute? There's a whole realm of like how we're trying to balance the compute power with this. But one thing I can say about compute is in the higher pro tiers, we give you kind of more bandwidth to play around with it. But there is a free tier where everyone can try a few generations. The code I had given you was for like a month of access for the advanced one. Let's see. Last few ones. Are you working on lip sync models? We do have lip sync available today. And how effective is training on a product? Let's say I have a real branded hairdryer and can train it with a dozen images. How consistent would it be? Find me and let's test it out together. Would love to beta test that with you. OK, I would say there's a lot more. I would love to answer them. Just find me afterwards. I want to make sure I'm cognizant of time. But any last questions that someone wants to shout before I exit stage?
There's no doubt that LTX is great for prototyping. It's like best in class.
Thank you.
My question is that do you think you guys will ever focus more on the quality side as opposed to just producing rapid?
And I'll repeat the question. He said, there's no doubt LTX is great with prototyping. Thank you, sir. But when will we focus more on the quality side? And I want to ask, have you tried the new LTXV, like 13B? OK, cool. So what we're focusing on is we integrated VO as well, because in some scenes with complex motion, we want to provide the best models out there so that you can toggle between them. We want to be an agnostic platform where if someone comes out with something great, cool, we will integrate that. But we also want to be a foundational developer building what's missing. And personally, we felt what was missing when we first released, ages ago in February, first released this model. There was not really many open source models with pretty good, clean training data. And there weren't many very fast ones. So we were focusing a lot on speed and prototyping to fill that gap in the market. That being said, to be honest, the most recent one surprised us with how good we can get the quality. And so we're going to continue. I can't talk about the next versions, but we're going to continue on the path focusing on quality. But I think what stands us apart is the speed. So we're going to keep that as a main competitive advantage and just look to see what other ones we can integrate. But yeah, great question. Last one. Great question. So if we're creating something like a music video, is there any requirement to mention LTX? No, but you have to tag me personally. You just have to at Corbett Drummey on all social networks. No, and music videos are a really fun use case. To be honest, narrative stuff is hard. Narrative stuff is really hard to keep the attention of the user. Music videos are a good early use case where it kind of works with the glitches of AI. But there is a free tier where anyone can try out LTX Studio. But even for the $35 a month tier, you can start to use it for commercial purposes. So again, for $35 a month, you can use this and test it out for commercial purposes, like a music video. And so there's no requirement to tag us or anything. But we would love it if you did. So thank you all.